Hello everybody, welcome to DataSnipper version 6. We're going to be doing a quick run through of everything you need to know about version 6, what has changed, what are the key things that you need to be aware of. There are 5 points we're going to be covering today, starting off with optical character recognition. DataSnipper has already been supporting character recognition in multiple languages, in multiple different types of script. We have, however, made specific improvements to Hebrew, Greek, and Arabic, and I'll be showing you that as we go. We have also made some adjustments to the way that DataSnipper works, making it easier for you as the end user to extract tabular data into your work papers. We have enabled the functionality of co-authoring, being able to simultaneously edit working papers. There is some specific, quite important information in this space to make sure that you do understand how you can collaborate with your colleagues. So please pay attention when we get to the spec section. And then we do also have a section to take a look at what has changed within the financial statement suite. A couple nice changes based on your recommendations and your suggestions. And this does spotlight that all of these suggestions do come from you as the end user. So I do want to thank you very much for continuing to give us those feedback points. And you can continue to do that via the Learn button within your DataSnipper ribbon and give us that feedback. So let's get into everything you need to know about DataSnipper. We're going to start off with some manual snips. DataSnipper has the ability and has always had the ability to extract textual data from documents, even if it is handwritten. So what we have on screen is a handwritten English set of data, which we can easily extract. Now, we have already been supporting multiple different languages. DataSnipper has, however, improved the functionality with regards to Arabic, Greek, and Hebrew. Validation snip remains the same, so we can extract and reference to a location in a document where you notice that something has been validated, and vice versa, you can extract to a location in a document where you have identified an exception. You can add numeric data, summing up any set of numbers quickly and easily to recalculate that total. And you can extract tabular data. Now, in previous versions of DataSnipper, the automation would identify where a table has been noted in your supporting evidence. We've elevated this with version 6 to make it clear that DataSnipper has identified multiple tables, and you have the option to extract all of these tables with one snip. You could also choose to select specific tables or a specific subset of those tables. In this case, we're just going to extract all the tables to show you how quick and easy that is. DataSnipper will extract all that data, make it clear what page that table has been found on, with a link to the exact extraction that it's finding. Some added changes that have come across in TableSnip is we are now also incorporating that header, which you can adjust to present the header row appropriately. In previous versions, we would have to remove columns and then add them back using the plus and minus arrows. Now we can actually just slide that column to adjust to the correct location based on the data that we need. And the same logic applies for rows. By editing the rows, we can then add and remove rows as well as moving them up and down. Now let's get into how we can do some co-authoring. And I'm going to do this with a worked example. Standard worked example that we like to work with is document matching. Now, we have some featured templates, so I'm going to make use of the expense testing working paper, just in case you'd like to click along on your end. And because we're using a template, DataSnipper is asking me, based on this template, to paste specific sample data and to update my invoices and my bank statement supporting evidence. So let's get that sample. Pasting that into columns D through to column K. And then let's update the supporting evidence in those folders. So I'm going to navigate to the Organize button, and I'm going to import the documents that I need. Finding those invoices and the bank statement. Just a reminder to double check that you have recognized the status of these documents so that you can interact with them when you need to perform the automation. And so we'll do just that. We'll go straight back into our document matching setup, where you can see now all of the options that we are expecting have been ticked, and we can click the blue button to match all those rows. DataSnipper will then perform the test as we're expecting it to, asking you to use professional judgment. And let's take a look. If we take a look at my first transaction, DataSnipper has been able to find the relevant data points that we're looking for. So we found our client name, we found our vendor name, the invoice number, the amount, as well as that invoice date. Now, we've left a section to perform more manual snips to double check where you require professional judgment. For example, has this transaction been recorded as an expense in the correct period? In this case, taking a look at the document, I can see that this expense was recorded in the financial year, and it is an at a point in time type expense. Same idea with assessing if this expense has been recorded in the correct general ledger account. Is the categorization correct? And you can see that this is an IT software expense, and taking a look at the supporting invoice, I'm unpacking that the description seems to relate to IT software. Now, I could carry on going through these, but I do want to draw attention. You might have noticed that Hunda is in this working paper with me, but he's supporting me in completing my work. So let's jump to the work that she has performed, where you can see a clear indication that she's raised an exception with regards to this particular expense. So here we've got a red flag expense where the expense actually relates to portions of the year post financial year end. In this case, the financial year end is 31st of December, and so a month of this transaction or this expense relates to the following financial period. And she's actually raised a nice comment for us to remind us to check if this has been adjusted. In addition, she's performed the assessment to see if the categorization of this expense is correct, and she has assessed that this is indeed correct by referencing me to the description as a red flag license fee. Now, I can always go and amend what I'm seeing from her side. So say, for example, I don't want to see these comments within the supporting evidence. I can go ahead and delete that and rather present that in the Excel, making it clear that I need to check if this has been adjusted. And as I perform my work, I can flesh these details out and make it more clear. Really supporting the collaboration, allowing multiple colleagues to be working in the same working paper at the same time. Now, this is co-authoring. There's a couple of important things that you need to be aware of to enable this functionality. Firstly, this has been enabled within version 6 specifically, and the way we've achieved this is by changing the way that documentation is stored within your Excel files. This means that if you do have colleagues which are on older versions of DataSnipper, they're not going to have this co-authoring functionality enabled. If you do need to collaborate with them, we have made that quick and easy by giving you a button to convert this file to an older version of DataSnipper. Same vice versa, if you are working with a customer or a client who has an older version of DataSnipper and you need to open that up in version 6, you will be prompted when you start your working paper to convert that file to a version 6 working paper. You only need to do that once. It then is a version 6 working paper which you can work with going forward. Our recommendation from our side at DataSnipper is to make sure that all of the colleagues within your organization work on one version of DataSnipper, preferably version 6, so that you get this added functionality. In addition, the files need to be in a location that both me and my colleagues have access to. So even if I toggle off that these PDFs will be included in the Excel, as long as both myself and Hunda have access to where these documents originate, in this case, my shared drive, we will then both be able to work with these documents within the Excel working paper. Finally, for me to see the work that Hunda is doing as she performs it, and for her to see the work that I'm doing as I perform it, we will need to both be auto-saving as we're going. We could always turn that off, perform some work, and then turn that back on, but the interim stage will not be accessible and visible by my colleagues as I perform that work. We have made all of these clear with a link to our knowledge base article, which fleshes out exactly what you need to enable version compatibility. Finally, let's take a look at all the changes that have been made within the financial statement suite. The financial statement suite still appears within your ribbon of DataSnipper. Selecting that is going to open up the financial statement suite application. You'll notice that here I have access to all of the financial statement suites that I've performed in the past. These are all called projects. Accessible from any Excel working paper, you have a view of all of the financial statement projects that you have in the past worked on. In addition, you can import projects from colleagues. So say, for example, Hunda has been working on a particular project and needs to move on to a new engagement, and I need to pick up where she left off. I can go and import her project instead of starting a new tick and tie process. I'll import her 2021 Adyen financial statements and open that project. Now, the view that we see should be familiar to you if you have already been working with the financial statement suite. I'm going to navigate through to page 115, where we would classically perform our statement of financial position mathematical accuracy test. As we expect, DataSnipper will check the mathematical accuracy vertically as subtotals of multiple separate numbers within a column and as a horizontal check. Where DataSnipper identifies mathematical inaccuracies, we're still going to be suggesting these items and presenting these as a red tick mark. Now, what has changed with version 6 is that the calculator button, which used to appear in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, has now been included in the ribbon in the top right-hand corner. Selecting the calculator, you'll also notice that we have added functionality for you to work in different functions or different calculations. In this case, I'd like to add up the numbers to double check why total current assets has not been summed. Quickly adding them together, I can see that the value, 56,000, has not been taken as a negative. This is because the brackets are too far apart, and therefore DataSnipper has not identified this as part of this numeric value. And this does happen occasionally, depending on the quality of the report that you are using from your client. You can now go into that calculator and edit the values that you're seeing, changing that, for example, to a negative, and then selecting equals to calculate that total, which you can then see quite clearly is actually incorrect. Now we're going to apply a suggested tick mark, making it clear that this is now an incorrect item. Notice that DataSnipper is asking you first to finalize the tick mark that you'd like to place by, in this case, making clear this is mathematically inaccurate and adding a comment, which we can now refer to that calculator and see, well, actually the amount should be 5.2 million. Once we select out of this flyer, DataSnipper will apply that appropriate tick mark, which will be summarized in the findings section as well as the comments section. Some other functionality where you might want to use the calculator in different instances may be, for example, double checking what is the percentage deviation year on year. You can use that percentage item and calculate the difference between two separate values. In this case, you can see property, plant, and equipment has increased by 204%. Hunter actually made a comment for me to investigate that, and I can actually add some detail, making it clear this increased by 200%. In addition, if I navigate through to page 20, you can see a nice example where you might use your division calculation to see if the total assets percentage has been calculated correctly. Holding down the control icon on my keyboard allows me to add separate values. Once I select enter, you can see that the total difference or the total percentage deviation is actually 10%. And again, I can apply that appropriate tick mark. DataSnipper will not apply the tick mark until I have selected what type of tick mark I need. In this case, I'm going to use a custom tick mark and make it clear that this is actually a recalculated item. This calculator is available to you under all three of our tests. If I go to internal consistency, you can see that calculator appears. This might be useful if you have the face of your financial statements presented as 100 and the notes separately adds up to that 100, but is separately presented as 60 plus 40, for example. You might want to add up 60 and 40 to get to that 100 so that you can validly say that this is internally consistent. That calculator icon is also available within the prior consistency tab, improving the way that you can make use of that. Now, just to get to that end result, let me go and apply all of these tick marks to the documents. Our suggestion would be to make sure that you only apply these tick marks automatically once you have reviewed all of these suggestions. But just for the sake of time, I'm going to apply those automatically so that we get to the end product where we need to export this to a client. I'm going to export this, include all of these applied tick marks as well as the findings, which are those red tick marks. And I'm going to add a summary page with those comments, exporting this to PDF and saving this to a particular location. This will open up in my PDF Exchange editor and present with a summary page on page 1. The tick marks legend will include all the tick marks that I have created, including my custom tick marks, and it will present all of the errors that have been identified in the 3 sections that I've raised those: mathematical accuracy, internal consistency, and prior consistency. You can also navigate to the actual comments that have been raised. And I want to draw attention to the fact that a comment raised to a correct tick mark or a comment raised to no tick mark at all will be highlighted in green. A comment raised on a finding or a red tick mark will be highlighted in red, making it really quick and easy for us to navigate between this document and collaborate with our client. Now, if we receive an updated version of this document, we would navigate through to the version section, create a new version, and import that updated version which we received. DataSnipper will review the new version and transfer the tick marks that are possible. I do want to stress this. DataSnipper's version comparison within the financial statement suite has been designed to support in transferring tick marks. That's the primary function. If we navigate through to the version comparison, you can see where the tick marks have not been transferred, made clear to you on the left-hand portion of the screen. If we select either of these items, it's going to direct you to the relevant location on the document where a tick mark may not have been transferred. Now, just before we deal with those, I do want to make clear that any change, tick mark, numbers, or text, is going to be highlighted in red and green. Green on the left for changes that have been amended to the new document, and red on the right where the old document has been amended or something has been changed. This is true for textual data as well as numeric data. So at a visual level, you can see what has changed. So for example, previously we had a comment which Handa raised for us to ask us to please change that header. In this case, we have a clear indication this header has been changed, and so we could remove that comment. Now, DataSnipper is making it clear in the findings section on the left-hand side where a tick mark, which was previously relevant, has no longer or may no longer be relevant. For example, if we take a look at that first item, 203, that has now been highlighted in red, making it clear that the value has changed. You can see that the value moved from ending in 377 to ending in 375. Now, previously we had some tick marks for mathematical accuracy as well as prior consistency applied to that tick mark. Those tick marks may no longer be relevant because a change has occurred. Your job now would be to go and reperform the calculations necessary to make sure that you're applying the appropriate tick marks. We're going to go back to mathematical accuracy, jump to that page 115, where you can see that value 210375 has now been recalculated. Same thing with prior consistency, jumping to that page and applying the appropriate tick mark. Once we've concluded that, we can clear that suggestion for that tick mark has now been dealt with, and we can continue our testing. This concludes all the core changes in the financial statement suite as well as the core platform of DataSnipper. Again, I do want to thank everybody for your suggestions, which help us as a team make sure that we are continuing to improve and advance DataSnipper as a product. If you would like to upgrade to version 6, please reach out to your DataSnipper representative and they can make sure that you obtain the necessary licensing. Otherwise, please navigate through to our DataSnipper website where you can reach out and contact us. Thank you so much.